What's up, everybody? It's Justin. Welcome to Live Ask Me Anything number 39. You know the drill. First couple seconds, I gotta make sure everything's working. Feels good to be in front of my whiteboard again, I'm not gonna lie. I miss this thing. I love it. My tools of the trade. All right, so we are on facebook.com/theclovisculture. That's where I'm at. I'm gonna hit the refresh button and I'm gonna make sure that it says live. I see live. Hold on, sit tight for just a second. Guys, I got a new microphone running. I got my little double screen set up here. Let's see if I can see myself. That's the biggest thing. Yeah, it's not gonna load on me. There we go. Okay, we got some live viewers. Click for more. Boom, I got it. Looks pretty good, bright. I can see myself, all the things. Fantastic, awesome. Thank you guys so much for being here. Welcome to the weekly Wednesday night Ask Me Anything, AMA. If you have not been here before, this is where I generally follow up on questions that I get from the Facebook groups. The Facebook groups are going incredibly well. We have over 1,300 members in the Clovis Academy. That is freaking fantastic. We have I Am Clovis. The I Am Clovis membership portal is getting better and better every single day. I'm always adding stuff to it. There's a brand new approved foods list, which is crazy, with recommended brands and clickable links and all the crazy things. So if you're not in I Am Clovis, get in there because you're missing out big time. I'm going to have video series coming to I Am Clovis. We have announcements about cookbooks and podcast interviews and guests and all the things. It's fantastic. Could not be happier about Clovis. Thank you guys, first and foremost. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for being here. You are the reason I get to do this. I can't thank you enough. I'm super grateful for it. I appreciate it. Clovis is going very well. That's because of you guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, getting a lot of engagement. I'm trying to make sure that I keep everybody happy with these AMAs and I cover things that you want to talk about. So I kind of have to apologize for this episode because this is a me episode. An episode that I decided to do out of nowhere on Monday night because I feel like it needs to be done. I'm ridiculously frustrated. I'm going to tell you why I'm frustrated. We talked about doing a dental AMA. We talked about doing a thyroid AMA, all these other AMAs, the things that you guys asked about. So maybe this is a little self-indulgent, but you guys need to hear this. I promise you, you need to hear it. Also, I'm working on the length of these. We're gonna try to not do 90-minute AMAs. So let's see how quickly I can jump in and get this thing started. So to give you an idea of what we're going over tonight, I am a little fired up. If you're in the Clovis Academy, I just posted this. I'm way too fired up for this AMA. I'm gonna try my very best to chill out here, okay? Because, I mean, people seem to like it when I get excited on AMAs. Like I said, we've been doing this for 39 weeks now. I don't even know how long, what is that, like 9 months or something? Could have made a baby in this time, everybody. That's crazy. We've been doing this a long time. So I'm going to get fired up tonight. If your kids are around, earmuffs, I don't know how I'm going to get through this one without F-bombs. Sorry, guys. I grew up in Rhode Island. What do you want me to do, right? Okay, but here's the thing. I'm absolutely appalled. I'm absolutely appalled with health and wellness today. This approach that we have taken with all the different experts and all the different people chiming in on everything. I was crazy excited for the last 2 weeks because there were some recent podcasts that I knew about, that I knew were coming on giant platforms. I'm not gonna get names and all that. You guys know what I'm talking about. Giant platforms, some of the biggest platforms in the world. It was a huge opportunity. Opportunity to bring respectable experts together to help the general public understand how to eat healthy. That's what I hope for. That is not what happened. Not even close. Not what we got. These experts had a giant opportunity and they completely blew it. And it sucks because I respect a lot of these guys, but they completely blew it and I don't even think they realized that they blew it. Everyone is too busy thinking their side won. Vegans, meat eaters, keto, bodybuilders. This is multiple episodes we're talking about. I'm not just talking about one episode. If you haven't checked out all the podcast episodes, again, I don't want to name names. I'm not throwing rocks. That's not what this is all about, right? I understand how it happened, and I'm going to explain to you how it happened. The issue is the entire country lost. In reality, the entire country lost. And I know why, and tonight I'm going to tell you why. It is the number one problem that I see in health and wellness. I'm going to explain why you, the average consumer, can't get a straight answer from anyone without dogma and ego attached to it. I'm going to explain to you why that happens. I'm going to walk you through what the world might look like if the experts could pull their head out of their asses for just a second to try to help some people, right? You're going to learn a whole lot about teaching and learning in this episode. Now, I want to be clear. I respect a lot of the guys, not all of the guys that were on these episodes. Not throwing rocks, not naming names. Some of these guys literally, particularly the one name I will name is Chris Kresser. I love Chris Kresser. He changed my life in a lot of ways. He was my early introduction to paleo. Love the guy. Not throwing rocks. I just want to explain how this happened. He got sucked into something that he shouldn't have gotten sucked into, and that wasn't particularly his fault. So anyway, I'm going to get that out of the way, and let's jump into this thing. So real quick, if you don't know who I am, if this is your first AMA, my name is Justin Nault. I'm the founder and CEO of Clovis. I invented a line of nutritional products called the Perfect Paleo Powder. I am a certified nutritional therapist, certified specialist in sports nutrition, certified specialist in fitness nutrition. I transform people's lives. I've done this for over 500 people. All sorts of crazy results. If you guys want to see those transformations, hear about those, I talk about them in other AMAs. You can join facebook.com/groups/Clovis Academy. Get in there, see the results, life-changing transformations. That's what I'm here to do. It all starts with information that I try to give to you guys to help you change your lives for the better, as practical as possible. That's what we're going to get into tonight. So, let's dive in, okay? Now, for the entirety of this episode, I'm talking about the entire health and wellness space. I have to include the entire industry because for some reason, everyone, doctors, personal trainers, bodybuilders, coaches, they all believe that they are experts in nutrition. That's problem number one. For some reason, if you have a job in health and wellness in any capacity, even if you have zero nutrition training, you think you're a nutritionist. Okay, problem number one. Now, the way I see it, there are three types of experts/educators. For the sake of this AMA, I'm going to be talking about the number one problem I see in health and wellness, and that is the educators. The educators, the experts, quote unquote, the educators, and those educators' methodologies, okay? So we're going to jump into that. It's not super sciencey, but I'm going to explain to you why this situation is so messed up. So let's talk about the three types of educators. Now again, all opinion, this is the way I see it, everybody. I have to stand over here kind of today because I'm going to need this whole board, right? So, educators. Number one. We have surface level. Those that chose to get into health and wellness the same way a kid who's really good at math decides he's going to be an accountant. Makes sense. I was born with six-pack abs. People like my picture on Instagram. I'm going to go get my personal trainer certificate and sell boot camp programs. Sounds good, right? To them, it's a job. It's a paycheck, which means they put minimum effort into their own education. If you are a certified personal trainer, congratulations. It's really not that difficult. Sorry. Kill me. Shoot me. What do you want to do? It's not that difficult. Round of applause, right? They put minimum effort into their own education. As long as they're making a little money, they stop learning, right? They're taking pictures of themselves doing bicep curls. They're not learning, right? They have no desire to be someone like Dr. Rhonda Patrick, right? To listen to Dr. Rhonda Patrick on the latest episode of Joe Rogan. She's fantastic. Amazing person. I support her Patreon. I'm one of the high-level supporters. Clovis supports Rhonda Patrick's Patreon. I love her. She's amazing, right? I've had great conversations with her. So, these people, the surface level people, have no desire to be like a Rhonda Patrick. That's not what they want, and that's okay, till they start ripping people off, right? They are happy with glamour shots on Instagram and selling you their 21-day boot camp, juice cleanse, whatever. And many of them, fun fact, are making millions of dollars per month. True story. I know some of them, okay? By the way, just wanted to share that with you. That's number one, surface level. The number two type of educator, this is what I call the show-offs. The show-offs are just as bad in different ways. These are the people who talk about nutrition only to impress other experts. Their goal is to show off their intellect. They might love arguing, they might love debating. They feel that their way is the way because they are so much smarter than everyone else, right? They've looked at all the studies, all the data the same way that everyone else has, and this guy thinks that it's that, but I read those studies and I'm way smarter than him. I'm the only one with the supercomputer brain smart enough to actually analyze this data correctly. You can literally feel their arrogance in their writing. You can feel their arrogance in their writing. You can feel it in their podcasts. You can feel who they think they are. A lot of these scientists, PhDs, I've read their books, all of them. Not many nutrition books I haven't freaking read at this point. And you can literally feel it. You can feel the arrogance. You can feel the way that which they definitively say things as if they truly know the truth to everything. That's how these guys operate. It's academics having pissing contests with other academics. Again, it leaves you, the general consumer, in the dust. Okay? That's number 2. Those are the show-offs. They're not really helping anybody. They're too stuck in the world of academia. All right? Let's get into number 3. This is what I call the real deals. These are my people. Number 3. These are my people. Okay? Now again, guys, this is just my opinion. You're listening to my show, so you're stuck with me for the next hour, right? These are the people who are every bit as qualified as the show-offs. Maybe slightly less, maybe slightly more in some cases. But they're right up there. They're peers with the show-offs. Okay? But they meet the general public where they are when they are trying to share information with them. They can take complex information, break it down, and help the average Joes understand it to help them get healthier, which makes a lot of sense when diabetes is literally bankrupting our entire nation. Fighting with other academics does not solve the problem, okay? Now, these people, what I call the real deals, they almost always have a transformation story. It's one of these things where once they learned the truth, they actually felt morally obligated to share that truth with the world. These are my people. This is my story. Now, I'm going to be the first to say, I don't consider myself this, and I don't consider myself a peer with the show-offs. Not even close, guys. You're just tuned into my show. I'm a normal guy who's figured some shit out. I am not in these categories, okay? So, I felt the moral obligation once I learned what I learned and had my own personal health transformation. These are the people, the real deals are the people that I got my information from in the beginning. It's the people that I continually go back to for information, even as I grow with my own journey 7 years into this. I'm always going to look to Rob Wolf for advice. I'm always going to look to Rhonda Patrick for advice. I'm always going to look to Dr. Peter Attia for advice. These are the real deals, okay? These are the real deals. And the recent podcasts that we've had a couple of those involved. Chris Kresser's the real deal. Go read Chris Kresser's books. The guy, he's one of the sharpest minds in the space right now, right? Here was the problem. All of these recent podcasts we've had one fatal flaw. One fatal flaw. They included show-offs. Every one of these episodes included at least one show-off. I'm going to let you guys read between the lines here and think about my opinions on these episodes. They included one show-off. All it takes is one show-off to take a huge dump in the punch bowl and ruin the party for everybody. And that's exactly what happened. I may be a little bit biased, but all these debate episodes had one real educator, one real deal, and they had one show-off. One show-off is all you need to completely derail the conversation and render it useless. How do you tell which ones are the show-offs? Well, that's easy. It's the ones who cite their credentials ad nauseum, usually after presenting inaccurate or debatable information. Let me give you some examples, and I'm paraphrasing here. Don't shoot the messenger. Example, quote, saturated fat comes from heart disease. Trust me, I've cut open more hearts than anyone in this country. I've done more blood work than any other doctor. I'm a scientist. I'm the only scientist at this table. Don't even try to challenge me, right? That's the kind of language that they use. Or this kind of language. I eat 400 grams of carbohydrates per day. I'm a professional bodybuilder. I've gotten down to 3% body fat before. I once broke a world record. You have to listen to me. You have no choice. Congrats, guys. Can we chill out? Can we please have a conversation? What are you doing right now? Do you know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like this. I'm going to build a wall. It's going to be the hugest wall, the most amazing, the most incredible. It's going to be the most incredible thing you've ever seen, right? And no questions asked, right? You can't question this. You just can't. It's this, no, I have a PhD and that's the end of this discussion. No, it's not. Right? This same guy, this same bodybuilder guy at the end of the episode is like, oh yeah, by the way, did you know that like all scientific research is flawed and scientists get caught faking scientific studies all the time, and some studies are paid for by this special interest group and some studies are paid for by that special interest group, and you can't really trust epidemiological studies, and we don't really have any placebo-controlled studies, we don't have blah, 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 you know. And I'm like, you just spent 2 hours citing all your studies, and now you're like, yeah, scientific data we don't really know the answer. Well, okay, that's crazy. Why were you so opinionated for the last 2 hours? What are we talking about? Can we all just be honest? Can we just be honest? Nobody has all of the answers. And while you're sitting here having this pissing contest, you're leaving everybody in the dust and helping nobody. Nobody, you dick. Try harder, okay? 70% of people are overweight. 30% of people are obese or morbidly obese. We have 100 million people that are diabetic or pre-diabetic. And you want to talk, red meat has a 13% increase relative risk of cancer. What are you talking about? What are you doing here, right? This is why this episode had to happen, because this is all ego. I talk about ego all the time in Clovis. It's astronomically important for us to understand this concept. Now, along with these different types of educators come different teaching methodologies. So keep this in your head. I'm going to erase this because I need this whole board. Teaching methodologies. They're all different, but they follow this same basic outline. And here's where this came from. I was at jiu-jitsu on Monday night, and I was all set to do like a dental AMA or thyroid or something like that. And Clay Howell, my jiu-jitsu instructor, who is incredible, literally one of the best teachers I've ever come across in my life. He teaches pistol courses, rifle courses. I believe he's a 7th degree black belt in jiu-jitsu. It's absurd. And he's an expert instructor. This guy has teaching down to a science. So he spelled this out for me as it pertains to martial arts. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God. So I stayed after class and I said, dude, I need to share this with the world as it pertains to nutrition experts, because the world needs to hear this. Because this has been on my mind. It's like the universe was talking to me, especially after these podcasts. So with his blessing, I'm sharing this idea with you, right? So I'm going to outline how this whole concept pertains to nutrition and the quote-unquote experts. So I'm going to use this whole board. I'm still in frame. I'm going to make sure. There's a little delay, but I'll make sure I can see myself. Yeah. So we have subject matter. Subject matter of any kind. Let's draw it like this. We have a graph, okay? Yeah, we'll be able to see that whole thing. So this is subject matter. Right here, we have beginner, okay? We're gonna call this zero knowledge. This is little first day, a kid walks in off the street, he's not even a white belt, he doesn't even own a belt. Walks in and says, I wanna do jiu-jitsu. That's a beginner. Up here, we have an expert. So this is no knowledge, this is expert level knowledge. This would be like a 50-year-old 8th degree black belt who got his black belt when he was 13 years old. Something crazy like that, right? Now, we can think about this as college. We can think about it as a lot of things. If you go to school for songwriting, like I did, my bachelor's degree is in songwriting, right? This whole thing right here might be like the entirety of what you learn. This is the entirety of what you learn, okay? So let's say this is all that I learned in 4 years. But what I want you guys to understand, this happens with everything. It's natural. This is how the human brain works, okay? You learn all this. What you actually retain is probably here. So we'll call that what you retain. Now, take it even further. There's what you retain, and then there's what you actually use. What you actually use is probably about here. In all reality, this is how things work. If you've been to college, you totally understand what I'm talking about, okay? So human beings are incredibly good at learning new concepts very quickly. We can learn a lot of information very quickly, okay? The human body, physiology, is also very good at adapting very quickly. Beginner's luck, all these things that happen when you're starting something new and physical, right? So I want to explain 2 other concepts to you, and I want you to keep them in mind. So one, we're going to go over is the law of diminishing returns, okay? So let's talk about it like this. Let's say this is a graph of progress. So we're going to go like this, like that, okay? So let's say this is day one. This is zero. You have zero knowledge, okay? So I want to get you to here. That's what I want to do, right? I want to get you from beginner to use what you're going to do for the rest of your life, from here to here. So I'm going to give you a good analogy of this. The body can adapt very quickly, especially muscles. So let's say I take the average millennial hipster. This is a kid who hangs out in coffee shops, has an ironic mustache, and wears skinny jeans. Okay? We're going to take that average kid, he probably weighs 150 pounds, and he's going to go, Justin, I want to learn how to bench press, right? So on day one, this kid might come to me weighing 150 pounds, soaking wet, and he might be able to bench press 100 pounds. Now, if I take that kid and he does exactly what I tell him to do, I can probably have him bench pressing 200 pounds. I can probably double his bench press in 6 to 8 months. Probably 6 to 8 months. I would say no problem. I could take this kid from 100 pounds to 200 pounds in 6 to 8 months on his bench press. Now, this 150-pound kid we're talking about. Let's say he's 5'7", 150 pounds, 5'8", 150 pounds, and he wants to bench press 300 pounds. Well, 300 pounds is over here. Well, look at how this graph is slowed. Incremental changes, right? So if I want to take him to 300, that could probably take me 2 years. Another 2 years. Because now I have genetics working against me. I have his frame, I have his genes, I have the ratio of slow twitch muscle fiber to fast twitch muscle fiber. What's this kid built for genetically? Then we have his food, his sleep, his recovery, all of these stressors, his supplementation, all the things that we have to think about now. All these things we have to think about to get from here to here. But the bottom line is, what all these experts forget is the vast majority of the population is trying to get to here. That's it. Why are we having a conversation of here to here without addressing this? Why is that happening, right? Because here to here is where the sacrifice comes in. A lot of you are already here. We talked about life after success. A lot of you reached your target rate, your target weight on Clovis. Now, life after success. Okay. Maybe we talk about cold showers. Maybe we talk about a sauna. Maybe we talk about some fitness. Maybe we talk about some mindfulness. Maybe we talk about some intermittent fasting or sort of prolonged fasting, right? These are sacrifices. These are things that aren't necessarily comfortable that you have to do to get that extra little bit. If you want to be a world-class distance runner, you are going to sacrifice a lot of time with your family to get from 95% to 100%. Let's say Olympic level is the top 1%. If I walk into a gym, a normal Globo gym, right? I'm going to deadlift. My deadlift will be better than 95% of that gym. But the person that's at 96, that's 96% better than that whole gym, his deadlift's going to be way bigger than mine. The guy who has a better deadlift than 99% of the entire gym, his deadlift might be twice mine. You see what I'm saying? The world-class people, these are these increments. That's where the experts get stuck. That's what these podcasts were about. And that's where they left people in the dust. You understand what I'm saying? So this is where we went wrong with this. Now I'm going to go farther with it, okay? So we understand this. Like, for example, I went to music school, right? When I started playing piano, for the first 10 years of playing piano, from age 8 to 18, I practiced probably 6 to 8 hours a day. And then I started making real money as a musician. And I made money. Then I spent the next 15 years. This whiteboard was bought by music. Awesome. Pretty cool, right? I made my whole living, bought a couple houses as a musician. That's amazing, but it takes a lot of sacrifice to get to that point. You see what I'm saying? And most people aren't looking for that. Most people don't want my level of health. Most people don't want to hang on gymnastic rings and do crazy deadlifts. They just want to feel good every day. That's it. Basic, right? So the other concept I want to talk about, I can put it up here, is the Pareto principle. You guys may be familiar with this. You may have heard of it. It's called the 80-20 rule. Clay is also a huge fan of this. I've been a huge fan of it since I was first introduced to the 80-20 rule way back. Before I even started Clovis, I heard about it from Tim Ferriss. I'm a huge fan of Tim Ferriss because he breaks things down simply. Love him or hate him, you shouldn't hate him because that's not correct. And he gives fantastic information for the average consumer. He does great at that. Now, the Pareto principle basically means that 80% of your results are going to come from 20% of your causes. What 20% of things that you're doing are yielding 80% of your results? Okay? Does that make sense? It's true of almost anything. You see it in nature all the time. It's pretty crazy. So really get into the Pareto principle on your own, but I'm just using this as an analogy for you to understand this whole methodology thing. So if I were to take Clovis and say, what 20% is going to yield you 80%? So again, if I put this line here, how do I get you from here to here? How do I do that, right? Now I can get you there rapid fire if you do a custom nutrition plan and we go deep and do the whole thing. But if somebody just said, hey, help me, let's pick, all right, 20%. Let's say, eat whole foods. No processed junk at all. Only eat whole foods. That's it, okay? And then no added sugar, period. You're not drinking sugar, nothing. The only sugar that you're getting is naturally occurring, and I'll even give you fruit, whatever. Fruits and vegetables, that's the only naturally occurring sugar you're gonna get. No added sugar, no drinking sugar, none of that nonsense, right? So eat whole foods, no added sugar, and if I were to throw 1/3 thing in there, I would say, now again, I'm giving advice to an overweight person who's trying to lose weight and get healthy. So I would say less than or equal to 50 grams of net carbohydrates per day. Eat whole foods, no added sugar, less than or equal to 50 grams of net carbs per day. Boom, Pareto principle. You got it. That's it. Okay? That's your 20%. It's going to give you 80% of your results. I can get you here in no time. Faster than probably any diet you've ever done. Right? Now, for those of you that want to do this whole deal of going from, say, here to like where I'm at or something in terms of health or how my body works or whatever. Like I don't even think I'm anything special. But I'm saying then that's when you're gonna get into, okay, I wanna really focus on body composition. I wanna really tune in my cognitive performance. I want my sleep to be better. I want my lipid panel to come back insanely good. I want to have zero inflammation on my body when I take my blood markers. I want to be able to do incredible things. I'll do cold showers. I'll meditate every day. I'll get in the sauna every day. I'll do all these things that I need to do perfectly, right? I'll supplement. I'll do whatever it takes. That's cool. Then we can talk about your journey. That's called life after success. And we get to that point for those of you that want to do it, right? It's like those of you that quit your job. There's a lot of people in Clovis who lost a bunch of weight and then quit their job and start something new. That's amazing, but you got to learn something new. There's sacrifice involved in that, right? It's challenge. You face challenges and all that. But we don't start with that. We don't start with that on day one. There's 100 million people who desperately need day one. So let's talk about day one, okay? Now, the reason why you guys think that I'm an expert is because I probably know more than you do, okay? I am not an expert, not even close. I've never once called myself an expert, don't consider myself an expert, but you're here because I probably know more than you do about health and wellness. So in your mind, because of that, it feels like I'm up here. This is what it feels like to you. It feels like, man, Justin, every time I ask Justin a question, he has an answer. Justin's up there. He knows everything. This is crazy, right? In reality, I'm probably right here. Okay? So let's say Justin. In reality, that's probably where I'm at. But you're coming to me on day 0 as a complete beginner. You thought you knew something about nutrition because you did Whole30 and Beachbody once, but you didn't really know shit. So you come to me, you're starting at day 0, beginner, right? And I'm up here. So this feels like a world to you. So to you, it feels like I'm up here as an expert, but that's not actually what's happening. What's really up here is Rhonda Patrick, Dr. Peter Attia. You have, all sorts of people. I could go on and on. Rob Wolf is one of my favorites of all time. He's a buddy, great guy, right? So that's where those guys are. I'm not even close to them. I'm simply not. Rob has a degree in biochemistry. I don't have that. I don't have that precursor, right? I'm just a guy that figured some shit out. So now that you understand this concept, I'm going to talk about the problem with the methodology of all these experts that are being given these huge platforms and completely just blowing it, just blowing the opportunity. The reason they're blowing the opportunity is because of their methodology. So let's talk about it. So I told you guys about 3 types of experts, defined by me, little old Justin, right? surface level, show-offs, and the real deals. Let's break down their methodologies, okay? So if we start with surface level, the surface level people, the people who are like, hey, I got a personal trainer certificate and I created a 21-day boot camp program for you. Here you go. Hooray! Look at my butt in a bikini. I know stuff. These people that you see all the time, right? What they do is they will teach you this. They'll teach you this portion of the graph. And they'll say, well, this is all you need. This is all you're going to use. All you need is my program. You don't need to know about biochemistry. You just need my program. You're going to eat 1,100 calories a day, right? This kind of bullshit. So what's happening, what they don't understand, is this applies to everything. So since they're teaching you this, now we need a new graph. This is what they're teaching you, okay? So you, Instagram model. You, Instagram model. That's as much as they know. So they're going to teach you this. The problem is these rules apply. Use, retain, expert, all applies. So they teach you everything that they know. And you're going to retain that much. And then you're going to use that much. Do you know where that puts you in the grand scheme of actual nutrition? Probably somewhere around retain and use, which means you're fucked. Okay? That's what you're getting from the Instagram models of the world. That is the problem. And the real issue with this is, let's say this is something like if it fits your macros, right? Sorry to call them out, whatever. So you're not going to learn shit. It's just like, here's your macros, follow your macros, right? So you might go, oh, okay, well, I learned about macros. That's cool. Well, I'm going to use it. I'm going to count macros. And I realized that I can hit my macros with 9 Pop-Tarts a day. Okay, I love Pop-Tarts. They're fantastic. I'll show you, Mom. You said I couldn't eat Pop-Tarts. Now I'm going to eat Pop-Tarts, right? Then you fill your macros every day. You're counting your macros. You're doing what you were taught, and you're doing it with Pop-Tarts. And you're fucked. Congratulations. Okay? This is what happens. Then, when you go back to the influencer and you say, how come this isn't working for me? Can we tweak some things? Can you explain to me this? They go, oh, well, you just need to eat less calories. Calories in, calories out. Oh, you have another question? Okay. Well, that other question, I have this other program. It's like 3 times more expensive, and I'm going to teach you more nonsense, and you can pay me like $1,000, and then you'll get all the knowledge that I have. That's what we'll do. We'll do it that way. So, or we can do one-on-one coaching. We can do one-on-one coaching for quadruple the price. I'll come to your house, right? This is what you deal with. The second you start asking them questions, it is exposed very quickly that this is the extent of their knowledge. Now you're in trouble, okay? That's what happens with the surface level people. You ask them for more information, instant exposure, you're in trouble. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the show-offs. The show-offs, you're starting here, you're a beginner, okay? You're a beginner. They're going to teach you this, which is what we saw on these podcasts. These are the show-offs. The show-offs are going to teach you here to here. That is a giant gap to overcome before you can even start to listen to what these people have to say. That's a big deal, right? The experts insist on showing off what they know. So you tune into this podcast and 5 minutes in, it's all gluconeogenesis and glycolysis and LDL receptors live on your liver and beta amyloid proteins and ghrelin and leptin and inflammatory cytokines. I have a PhD, right? That's very useful to you. Aren't you glad you tuned in? Okay? They're showing off. They're creating content to impress other experts and have these endless debates that have been going on for freaking decades. It's ridiculous. It's all ego. This is what you saw on these wildly popular podcasts lately. Experts literally masturbating all over the place. I know things. Ugh. It's just ridiculous, all right? So the average listener tunes in, and then they're left with more questions than they ever had prior to these episodes. It's now worse for the average listener. They're more confused than they have ever been. And do you know what the huge problem with this is? The huge problem is the people that were watching here with no prior knowledge, or even worse, they did one of these little programs, so they have this much knowledge, and they think that they know some shit. Well, they learn this, now they have this graph, right? This graph of what the show-offs taught, but they're really down here. So they missed this whole gap. This big gap. They're in trouble. But yet, they're opinionated. So they get on Facebook and Instagram and all the social media, and they start trying to repeat and parrot and reiterate what their favorite expert did on the show-off thing. So it's hilarious to watch, because now there are all these people in these comment debates on social media. Their understanding's down here, and they're trying to use words like gluconeogenesis, and they're trying to talk about C-reactive protein and inflammatory cytokines, and they're real confused, and they don't realize it, and they're sounding real dumb, and it's hilarious to watch. It's a train wreck. That's the problem. But either way, the show-offs and the surface level teachers have both left you in the dust. Nothing. They taught you nothing. They failed the general public. And it pisses me off. So the real deals are the people who check their ego at the door. The real deals along the way, as long as it takes 39 weeks of AMAs, the real deals are going to try to teach you everything that they have learned. They're going to try to do it in bite-sized pieces. They're going to meet you where you are. I have some clients that have been doing Clovis for 6 months. My emails with them are very different than my emails with the client that starts at day 1. I don't speak to them the same way. We're not talking about the same things. I'm not hitting them in the face with biochemistry day 1. That doesn't make any sense, okay? The real deal people check their ego at the door. They're just trying to share what they've learned along the way. Like I said, they probably have some type of personal transformation story. Many times they didn't get into nutrition on purpose, okay? Guys like Peter Attia. In the medical field, tired of watching diabetic patients get sicker and sicker, starts experimenting, changes his own diet, boom, the light bulb goes off. I can change people's lives with lifestyle intervention. Holy crap. Then he starts studying. And a guy with his brain starts studying. That's a really good thing for the world. Rob Wolf started as a CrossFit trainer. He opened the #1 CrossFit franchise gym in the country, right? Total meathead, competitive power lifter, training like crazy, eating all the food he could stuff down his face, including grains, with severe GI issues. His parents got really sick and he couldn't help them. Sad stories, transformation stories. He finds paleo. His life changes. He's now been sharing information with the world, changing countless lives for countless years. I cannot tell you how many times I have heard Rob in his own podcast or in interviews or anywhere else say things like, look man, we're getting in the weeds here. If you really just stick to a whole food diet with adequate protein intake, moderate to high fat, moderate to low carb, you're going to be just fine. How refreshing is that? How refreshing is that to hear? I love that. Another example of this is Tim Ferriss. Tim is not a nutrition expert. He gets a lot of shit for the 4-Hour Body book he put out years ago because he's not a scientist and this and that. I guarantee you that Tim Ferriss changed more lives in a meaningful way with his slow-carb diet than vegan cardiologist Joel Kahn could ever hope to change in 3 careers with the approach that he takes. Tim Ferriss did it right. Look at the 4-hour approach. The slow carb diet, do I agree with it fully? No. It's one of the simplest diets I've ever seen in my life. It's so simple. Simple. If you go from a standard American diet to a slow carb diet, I guarantee you will see results. What else are we looking for? Are we trying to help sick people? Or are we trying to prove how smart we are? What are we trying to do here? This is where these experts completely drop the ball, man. And I want you guys to understand this. The reason why I'm even talking about this is because I want you to watch out for shit like this. I don't want you to get taken by these people, man. It's ridiculous. If you would have told me 10 years ago that I would own a nutrition company, I would say, you are most certainly confusing me with somebody else. There's no way. I have a Miller Lite in my hand and a Jägermeister as we speak, and it's 4 in the morning. What do you mean I'm going to own a health company? You are a crazy person. That's what I would have told you. And yet here I am. That's how this stuff happens. And 500 plus people have come to me when they couldn't get results anywhere else, and it works. Right? I don't understand why this is so difficult for people to wrap their heads around. I really don't understand it. It bothers the shit out of me. So, we're doing good on time. So I want to talk to you guys about Clovis. What I have tried to do since the beginning, since AMA number 1 sitting at my kitchen table, I've been trying to teach you everything that I have ever learned about nutrition. Okay? Everything. Have I retained 100% of what I've learned? No. No, I can't do that. I've studied nutrition almost every day for 7+ years. I am an addict. I am an information addict. I can't retain all that information. I'm sorry. I will try. I can reference my books and my notes. If there's something I don't know, I can try to go back and help you understand it, and I promise I will. Do I know more than the average Joe? Yup. Most definitely. I don't pat myself on the back. I'm not an expert, but I will at least say that much. Do I have a personal transformation story? Yup. Do I still have fucking body dysmorphia and struggle with loving myself because I was a chubby kid? Yup. Has my family been deeply affected by nutrition, tragedy, and mainstream medical? Yup. That's where this comes from, guys. So here we are. And why am I'm telling you all this? Because I'm tired of watching what is going on. I'm tired of seeing you guys get involved in debates. Well, you know, studies show. Stop. You didn't read the studies. They don't know this. The average person spouting this shit online, you went to Google on one tab, and then you copy and pasted it in your comments section. That's what you did. What are we doing here, guys? We've been sold so much nonsense. And you know what I'm tired of? I'm not tired of it. It makes me feel good. But people tell me all the time, they come to Clovis, man, you know why I did Clovis? Why? Well, Justin, you're just super genuine. There's no bullshit with you. You just tell it like it is. You don't pull any punches, man. That's so refreshing. What? I mean, why is that? Why have we allowed someone being genuine to be a rare personality trait? That's so crazy. Like, we've been sold so much nonsense, and I am truly sorry that you guys have been lied to so much about nutrition and fitness. I'm truly sorry that I have been lied to so much about nutrition and fitness. I promise you, my life, what I have been through because of not loving my body, like, my life would have been a lot easier if I had been sold a lot less bullshit, for sure. I wish I hadn't been lied to so much in my life. I could have saved myself a lot of struggle, a lot of pain, a lot of heartache, a lot of emotional distress, right? For sure. But I wouldn't be here with you right now. That's for sure. I wouldn't have this. So I'm eternally grateful for that. I'm grateful for all the struggle. I'm grateful for everything that I went through. I'm grateful for all the hours in the gym. I'm grateful for all the injuries. I'm grateful for all the pills I popped. I really am. Because that's what got me here. I'm grateful for you guys looking at your screens right now and letting me share this stuff with you. I'm grateful that I get to break this stuff down. Right? I love digging into this stuff. I love this work. That's why I'm here, you guys. I'm just here because I love it and I want to help some people. And I wouldn't be here without you, right? And I am eternally grateful that I'm eternally grateful for Clovis. Wherever I am right now is exactly where I'm supposed to be. Right? Clovis, the last thing I'm going to say, because I'm cutting these down to an hour. I want you to listen to me. This is from my people, my Clovis people. I want you to listen to me, and I want you to listen good. Okay? If you are a client of mine, if you are in the academy and you're not a client of mine, if you are part of the Clovis community in any way, shape, or form, do not pretend that you are up here Do not pretend that you were up here. Do not get on your Facebook and make people feel small when they say that they don't eat meat. Do not get on your Facebook and tell people that fruit is poison whether they like it or not, and my nutrition guy told me. And certainly don't do that in the name of Clovis. You go out there with humility. You go out there with love. When these people say, I'm a vegetarian because meat gives you heart disease or meat gives you cancer, you say, you know what? I used to think that too. I thought maybe that might be true. And I started poking around and looking into it. Have you ever really poked around and looked into it? How about you start the conversation like that? Instead of these fucking comment threads. Red meat gives you cancer. No, it doesn't. Clovis said. Well, what about this study? Well, what about this study that I just pulled from Google a minute ago that I've never seen before in my life? Don't do that. Please. Okay? Let's try to approach it like that. I want you guys to understand this. I'm telling you guys, I am here at best. And this is the reason why I'm branching out into interviewing on my podcast. I have amazing podcasts lined up. Some of the people I mentioned tonight. So, I want you guys to understand, I'm going to bring you these people. Okay? I'm going to bring you these people so that I can bridge this gap, because I am not capable of bridging this gap. Now, I can probably take a lot of what they say and make it easier for you to understand. I can bridge this gap. This is my skill set, guys. My skill set is bridging this gap. Okay? That's what I'm going to do. I take this high-level stuff and I try to bring it down here to you guys. I do not think I am more than what I am. And I think this entire country would be in a much better place, especially health-wise, if we just approach these things with a little bit more humility and a little less dogma. You get what I'm saying? There you go, guys. That's my rant for today. Let's take some questions. I didn't break it up and take little breaks for comments in between all these things because I knew I had a lot to get to. So now, let's open it up for comments. So let's do a robust Q&A here. Let me know, you guys. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think of this whole entire thing, what you think of all this concept and everything. And you know, don't be afraid to say, hey, I've been there. I debate. I get pissed at people. I told my friend off. I do this. I get defensive. I do it. I do it all the time. I've done it. I've definitely been caught being defensive, you know? But this is what we need to do, guys. We need to take the dogma out, take the emotion out, take the ego out. And that's what we saw. We basically saw, on those podcasts, we saw a bunch of really, really smart little kids fighting on the playground. We saw little kids with PhDs and master's degrees and whatever else fighting on the playground. That's what we saw. No, you're dumb. No, you're dumb. You're a doo-doo head. You're a doo-doo head. That's really what we saw, guys. You know? So, it's a bummer. Anyway, let me know your thoughts here. Q&A. Open it up. It is 8:51. I did good, guys. I'm trying to limit these things to an hour. So, AMA number 39. What do we got here? Let's see. I'm going to look at some comments. Let's scroll up. Who's the scientist here? Yes. I love this, Justin. Awesome, Sean. Thank you very much. This analogy is resonating so hard. Yes, I knew you'd like this one. This was the right topic for this week. Absolutely. Thank you very much. Makes sense. Sounds familiar. Yes. Found out today that doctors calculate patients' NG tube feeds based on calories. 100%. And it doesn't matter where those calories come from. It's just like in a study where they go, high fat was proven to be really bad. Well, what was the high fat? Corn oil. Ridiculous. It's insane. What else we got? Fish and diabetes. Yep, that was a pretty crazy one. Thank you for being the real deal. You are very welcome. I am trying my best. You are the real deal, and we are all so glad. Thank you. I appreciate that. We love you and your realness. I love you and your realness. For real. You guys are awesome. I love you, Justin. Your AMAs are so good. Love your vulnerability, passion for nutrition, and overall health. Yes, you are refreshing. It is freaking rare. Thank you. Thank you. I cannot tell you what that means to me. I am only here because I'm tired of people getting lied to. So I'm trying my best. The other thing I want you guys to understand is if I ever do an AMA and a year later it's like, oh, a study comes out that this
this guy who told you fruit is not good for you is completely wrong. I would do an AMA and be like, hey guys, I got this wrong. You know what I mean? Like I don't have an example of it. It hasn't happened yet. But I would absolutely do that. I don't know why it's so easy for people to just be like, hey, I was wrong. Sorry about that. Like new data's out. You know what I mean? What else we got? That's my favorite thing you teach, to approach all situations with love. 100%. Meet people where they are. Empathy. It's a big deal. By the way, Dad and I, Papa Nault, we recorded a podcast because I think it's really important to get my dad's story out there. His entire life has been in service of others all around the world. Like, I mean, jumping on planes in emergency situations and going and helping the less fortunate. He's an incredible human being. So I'm doing podcasts with him, but we talked a lot about that on this podcast interview of how we handle ourselves. When you know what I know, it's very difficult because in any societal setting, almost everyone I'm around is overweight and almost everyone knows what I do at this point. So it's impossible to not talk about nutrition. So I've actually had to set up very strong boundaries where, like, if I'm in a social setting and someone with a Jack and Coke in their hand, like drinking Coca-Cola, is like, hey man, I hear you have a nutrition company. I'm like, yeah dude, I totally do. You can email me or something and let's talk about that any other time but right now. No, let's just not do it right now. So I have to be very careful to set up those boundaries because I don't want to get into these things and ruin. I don't want to talk about food when everyone's got a plate of food in front of them and 60% of what they're eating is probably not good for them. Like, why would I do that? That doesn't make me feel good. It makes me feel the opposite of good. It makes me feel like the odd man out, So I don't want to do that. I try to be good about that. I often ask myself, what would Justin do? Oh man, that's brutal. I don't think my dad would like that one. Hey now, blasphemy, son. Yes, lovingly share the news. Thank you for bridging that gap. That's all I'm trying to do, man. I'm just trying to bridge a gap. That's it. Trying to make it easier for you guys. Guilty, truth, right. Nutrition in hospitals make me very angry lately. That is very difficult. I don't even know where to start with that one. It's tough. I've gotten pissed off at people, but you have taught us how to diffuse that and to love people enough to share. Yes, and understand, like I said. You know what's a better, we say meet, I just thought of this. How about we stop meeting people where they are and start meeting them where we were? Okay? Think of it like that. So Sean, every time somebody pisses you off, instead of meeting them where they are, meet them where you were when you met me. Because you had a lot of healthy skepticism. You should have had skepticism. I had not proven myself. You had no reason to trust me in the beginning, right? So meet people where you were. That's what I try to do. Meet people where I was. I remember the first time I had an ex-girlfriend bring me the 4-Hour Body. And I said, you're a crazy person. This is the dumbest book ever. And it sat on my shelf for like a couple years before I ever read it. I was totally that guy, It was pretty bad. I think they missed a huge opportunity to educate and not sure if they'll be doing this again. Probably not. I don't think the feedback from those shows is going to be good. There's no way it can be. It's nothing but negativity, Heather, I keep watching all your AMAs and it's so much information, but is this a good reminder every single day to keep trying to do better? Just trying to digest it all and help my whole family. 100%, that's all we're trying to do. Like I said, right? If we have this curve, I'm trying to get you here, everybody. That's it. Just trying to get you there. Trying to get you from not healthy to healthy. Okay? Nice and easy. It's not that scary. It's not a big scary thing we're trying to do here. I'm not trying to turn you into a CrossFit Games athlete. That's not my goal, okay? That's awesome. Love your dad. I love my dad. Papa Nault. Hospitals. Yikes. Total. Love that. Yes. Always thinking about how I was when I started. Yes. Okay. That's awesome, guys. So, aside from this AMA, anybody have any questions? You guys got any questions? Got an interview with Steph Gaudreau tomorrow from Stupid Easy Paleo. Was a competitive CrossFit athlete. So, if you have any questions for her, let me know. Email me, hit me up on Facebook, whatever. That should be a really good chat. Let me know who else you want to see on the podcast. If you have any questions, if anybody has any questions, anybody who just got a custom nutrition plan from me or anything like that, if you have a question, ask me right now. You can, if you don't mind, if it's something private, you can email it to me. But if you have any questions, let me know. Other than that, I'm going to stick to my promise and kind of shut this thing down at an hour or whatever, I think that's a better way to do this too. Make it a little more digestible for people. Trying to bridge that gap without saying like, hey, Justin did this episode and you need to devote 90 minutes to it. It's another thing that's helpful about podcasts. If you have not explored the 1.25 speed or 1.5 speed, try to do that. I listen to everything on 1.5. YouTube videos I listen to at 2.0. I don't know why. I just get that information in really quick. makes it a little bit easier to digest. So, anybody have any questions? I'll hang out for a couple minutes, see if some questions pop up. This has been AMA number 39. It's frustrating because most of the times our loved ones are the ones suffering so much and we want them to be better like yesterday. Yeah. One thing I can do is teach by example. Yeah, and the other thing is, I mean, remember, I have family members who aren't on board with this, and I've been leading by example for 7 years. Not only that, but I've been leading by example for 7 years, and then you have my dad, who's 59 and looks like he's 35 and deadlifts over 300 pounds. And so it's like me, my dad, when we have the whole family over, it's 100% paleo. And then the other 6 days of the week, they go off and don't do that. So, I mean, there does come a point of frustration, but love your people, man. Love your people. It's not, their bodies are not my body. I don't get to be in charge of what they do. You know, it has to be their decision. It's quite difficult. It's quite difficult. But am I going to love them any less? Am I going to make sure that every single time I see them, it's going to be an argument? Or every single time I see my stepdad with a Miller Lite in his hand, I'm going to go, hey, dummy, why you doing that to yourself? No. What are you going to do, guys? You know, it's going to keep doing what I do. That's it. What I do makes me happy. I hope that what they do makes them happy. If they're happy, I don't get to choose for them. I don't get to change that. They like cheese melted on their nachos. And I come over with plantain chips and guacamole. And we snack and we watch football. Cool. You know what I'm saying? Think about it like that. I don't know. Just trying to give you guys examples of my life. My life is very much this way. I have my little paleo way of doing things, you know? I bring over the Terra sweet potato chips and avocado oil, and I bring the plantain chips and avocado oil, and I bring guacamole with only the freshest ingredients, nothing bad in there. You know, if I drink, I might bring some Trulies or a couple White Claws, and people are drinking beer and eating whatever the hell, you know, nachos and cheese and all this stuff. It's cool. I'm cool with it, man. I'm going to come over and watch football and have a great day with my family. It's awesome. So no questions coming in, guys. You guys are awful quiet. A lot of comments, though. I appreciate the comments. Thank you. I'm glad you guys like this episode because it wasn't really, you know, this was kind of a me episode. I had to get this out. I had to get this out of my head. It's very important. I make 3 dinners every night for the household and will until asked otherwise. That's great of you. You are quite the cook. You're cooking all the time. It's a great step in the right direction. Yes. The best thing my family has done is been accepting of how I eat and not pressing me to eat what they eat. Yes, that's fantastic. We were just soaking it all in. Good stuff. I like that. Yeah, that's a big deal too, because it was like that for me in the beginning. Like even my mom's adorable, and she will admit to this too. She used to she'd like eating cheesecake and be like, but Justin, it's so good. Don't you want some of this? Blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, no. And it's when there isn't a reaction, it's less of a thing, you know? And setting boundaries, you know? That's a big deal. I mean, you have every right to set boundaries. So it can be a thing of like, hey, you know, Sam, why do you just always have to eat like that? Can't you just indulge sometimes? You can go, yeah, I mean, I hear you, but I don't really want to talk about that right now. What else you got going on this week? You don't owe anybody anything. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason to fight. Ready for your cookbook? I'm ready for my cookbook. It's gonna be awesome. I've seen pictures. Oh man, it's gonna be so good, guys. So good. I never thought I'd be excited about a cookbook because I hate recipes. You guys know that. I'm doing this for you, okay? But I do have to cook them all and test them and do all those things. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So I'm excited about that. What else we got? Anything? Any questions? No questions coming in. All right, guys. Well, this has been AMA number 39, live. Ask me anything. This is called the number 1 problem in health and wellness. Now, again, guys, remember, these episodes like this, like the number 1 problem in health and wellness, this is my opinion. This is the way that I see things. This is the way I see the world. Clovis is my little world. I built it. So when you come into my world, I get to talk about whatever the hell I want. And these are the topics of the day that I see. This is the way that I see things. This is my opinion. People can disagree. That's totally cool. Awesome. This one, I think, will really resonate with a lot of people. So if there's one thing I could ask you guys, share. Share, share, share. Click the share button right now. Tag your people. Click the share button. If you're thinking, man, I wish more people would understand this, help them understand. Click the share button. I see these things, they get like a few shares every week, you know? That's the only thing I ask you guys is ramp up your sharing. If you feel this way, you feel this way about this content, you feel this way about me, ramp up the sharing. Do me a favor, guys, help me out here. I am but one man. There is only so much I can do. So share, tag your people. Once the podcast is out, you guys know in the Clovis Academy and I Am Clovis, every time that podcast comes out, I edit it, I get it up quickly, I share the link for iTunes, I share the link for Spotify. You can copy and paste it, share it to your own social, put it on your Twitter, put it on your Instagram, put it on your Facebook. There's people with I Am Clovis Instagram accounts on Instagram constantly sharing every day. People sharing their testimonies. If you put a testimony up and I Am Clovis, let me know if I have your permission to share it. Let me get out there and share this thing. I'm going to build out a testimonies page on the new website. All these things. I need you guys' help. Okay? I really, really do. I do my best to help you all the time. That's the only thing that I ask from you guys. Share. Help me get this message out there. I think this episode is very important for people to understand. I think this episode is going to help a lot of people avoid a lot of nonsense. And I think that's really, really important. So please click the share button. This is AMA number 39, the number one problem in health and wellness. My name is Justin Nault from Clovis. Thank you guys for being here tonight. I appreciate it. I love you. I will see you guys in the Facebook groups tomorrow. Thank you so much for everything. Have an amazing night. Love your people. Go get some sleep. Bye, everybody.